I made it to the capital city of Phnom Penh.
Starting out in Phnom Penh was a real struggle. It didn't help that the room that I was staying in resembled a bit of an insane asylum. In fairness, this was probably the only room that looked like this in the whole place, but, yeah. Then there's the signs that tell you, don't take a bag outside for it might get stolen, don't even, show your cell phone in a public space or someone might steal it on a motorbike. Not exactly a welcoming sign. And one of the first things you notice about Phnom Penh is the insanity of the traffic and the way people drive. And most people are on motorcycles or tuk-tuks or some form of motorbike, but there aren't really any stop signs or stop lights, so every intersection you reach is a constant negotiation between a flood of cars just trying to find openings to slowly kind of make their way to their final destination. And when it's rush hour and the streets are clogged, the sidewalks become more street. Now what you notice driving around town is how many stores or businesses are right there on the sidewalk. Pretty much anything you're looking for you can find right there under one of these overhangs. And that goes from marketplaces to SIM cards to even getting your hair cut. Cambodia is one of the most Buddhist countries in the world, and I absolutely love how many monks you see all over the streets and doing regular everyday things like laughing and talking to other motorists on the road or giving people prayers. If you want to understand the Cambodian people, you really have to do something that's a little bit heavy and sobering, which is go to the Genocide Museum. It's something that happened in the recent past, and it really digs under the surface of what makes Cambodian people so different from, I would say, the rest of Southeast Asia. Afterwards, I had to take a walk just to clear my mind and really think things over because it gave me so much perspective on my own life. Those of you who know me, you know I love me some of this. And I know what you're thinking. Yes. Nelson loves the bean. The coffee bean. It's worth noting Phnom Penh has a fantastic coffee culture. The one thing that is a bit of a drawback for digital nomads is that the internet speeds can be very, very spotty depending on where you are. Here's a few of my favorite cafes that I visited throughout my time in Phnom Penh.
Good morning, good morning. I am on the hunt for a traditional Cambodian breakfast. I don't know where to find it, so I gotta ask around. How much?
The exchange rate is 4,000 to 1. So it's actually not too bad in terms of doing the math in your head. They make a fantastic barbecue pork over rice, and it's very, very affordable. It's probably $1.50 US, and it was very delicious. I think this actually qualifies for true local Cambodian food. Now, although I didn't have any of this deep-fried seafood, it was the first time I had seen anything like it since my time in Southeast Asia, so I thought it'd be worth pointing out. Like their neighbors Vietnam, they make a great beef noodle soup. Of course, the classic beef lak lak, which I'm probably mispronouncing, but this is something that was introduced to us in Siem Reap when we went to Angkor Wat. Fantastic. Interesting choice in apparel. I still didn't feel like I really got into Cambodian cuisine until I found this place Rambang, which was modern Cambodian food. And boy was I in for a shocker. The menu was really one of a kind. I tried to pick only off of the traditional Khmer dishes, and I ended up landing on the red fire ants over beef, which was kind of wild. And then I spotted up in the top in the appetizers that they also served tarantula. Maybe it was the Genocide Museum that had me thinking about how life is precious and you only live once and just go for it. But this is probably the craziest thing I've ever done, food-wise, in my life.
Wow.
You want the whole meat?
Yeah. Is it safe?
Yeah.
He doesn't move.
You put him like this.
If you ever have the pleasure of
He doesn't
ordering a tarantula for lunch, just know that you don't really know what's going to show up until it shows up. In my case, I thought they'd bring one out. There was 3. I thought it would be small. They were massive. If you're wondering if I ate them, you know I can't tell you that. What I can tell you is that after eating a tarantula, fire ants are a walk in the park. Yep, let's just go ahead and wash that tarantula down with a little glass of water here. And right about now, I'm trying to understand what's wrong with me. Now, I never explained why I chose to go to Phnom Penh, and this gentleman right here is the reason. Unfortunately, the audio from this conversation between us got really garbled because of all the background noise, but we had an incredible conversation about philosophy on traveling, philosophy on a 9-to-5 job, family life, normalcy, and all of the things that go into what happens when you are living a normal life and then you go travel for, in his case, 4.5 years, where he is now living permanently in Phnom Penh. He even showed me his photo from back in the day when he was a normal Frenchman, and you wouldn't believe the difference between then and what you're seeing now. Now, I only remembered him from his Instagram handle, which is Travel Roll, and we stayed in touch as I went to Phnom Penh, and he insisted that I go to the marketplaces to get a better feel for the culture. So, I did. This here is the Russian market. There is a local name for it, which is on that blue sign there, and it's an absolute maze of a place. You can walk and get completely lost. There were stands I saw where there was something really cool that I wanted to go back to revisit, and I could never find it again. By everything, I mean clothes, I mean a butcher shop, all your mechanical needs for your mopeds and your motorcycles, things from ancient Babylon apparently, your seamstresses, and of course, a badass retro shop with all this cool modern art. Totally spent too much time in this place. Gotta have your bootleg shoes. And all those cool bags that everybody wants. As I walked out, as with everything, food everywhere being set up as night started to break and the night market began. Now, contrast that marketplace with this one, Central Market. This is something that Travel Roll recommended that I do on my very last day, and it's
Central
definitely
Market.
much more opulent, more of a showcase for the city in terms of its design.
Let's see what this is all about. So it's a lot like the Russian market so far, until this.
picture.
Really quite a pleasant place and a really nice way to start my last day in Cambodia. After this, I decided to go to the Olympic Stadium, which is one of my favorite places in Cambodia. It's a place where a lot of the locals go at night to hang out and walk around the loop, the track, play some of this, whatever this is, which is almost like their version of hacky sack. And this part of Cambodia is the most exciting, where you see all the new development and really get a glimpse into its future. It's a very exciting thing to see because I'd really fallen in love with Phnom Penh, especially given where things started to where things had arrived. And seeing all the people out and about in this newer part of the city, it just gave me a lot of hope about the future of this place. And watching the sunset is just breathtaking. And lastly, I was very fortunate to stumble upon this game of pickup soccer, largely because soccer is played worldwide and it's so culturally imbued in terms of how people play, and it was just a real treat to see these kids having so much fun out there. So Phnom Penh caught me completely off guard. I didn't really have too many expectations of the place, but after being there and starting on such a rocky start, it really kind of ended on a note that I could never have imagined. I had a great time.
Okay, this is it. I'm heading to the airport. Phnom Penh. It's been real. Started out a little rough, but got better as the days went on. I actually feel like I got to know the culture quite a bit by the end of my stay, and I will miss it quite a bit.